Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited about today's video because I have a special guest. Now, for months and months, I've been talking an awful lot about the brand Maysama. They have a small collection of skincare products that all feature the green Rooibos extract. There is one particular product that I've gone completely bonkers over and I will never be without, and that is the green Rooibos Pressed Serum. I've already done a video about this and why, to me, it is absolutely vital to pair this with LED light therapy. So what I wanted to do is have the founder of Maysama join me just for a chat so that you could hear a little bit more about the products from the owner herself. So Beverly Sanders is joining us today and we'll get right into it. So today, Bev is here from Maysama. Thank you so much for joining. I am thrilled to have you on the channel. You're my first guest, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. I feel so privileged. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, look, it's no surprise to you. We've been doing a fair amount of emailing and you've had a lot of time for me on Instagram, and for that, I thank you. You know, I love your products, and I've been very vocal about it, and I've talked a lot about it, and I've promoted your products because I buy them, I love them, and I believe in them. And it's really interesting that there's one in particular that I am like on the rooftops talking about constantly, which is your serum. But there are a lot of people out there who probably don't know you. So I thought it'd be great to have you on just to hear a bit of your story, just so we can get the word out. So if you don't mind, I think that I heard somewhere along the way that I know you have sort of a science background, but you were in marketing or PR or something before Maysama. Is that right?
Yes, I mean, I studied the sciences, and then my career just took me in a different direction completely. I think I'd spent too long behind a sort of laboratory desk and went, no, I don't want to do this for a while. So I enjoyed a sales career, then moved into marketing, and I ran a marketing agency. I don't know that that's helped me that much, but I don't know. I think everything comes together in the end, doesn't it? And really, how I got back into Maysama and the science was just kind of coincidental. It was because I was having problems with my skin. I was having huge problems with my skin when I hit menopause at 50. And like most women, we would go to the dermatologist and we say, please fix this, help me. And she immediately put me on antibiotics. And I thought, gosh, that's not a long-term strategy. You know, what am I going to do? I've always had rosacea. You may be aware of that. I have many blogs on my website about having rosacea and my skincare journey. So if anybody's out there that has rosacea, please do take a look at those. But I decided that I had to learn about skin for myself. So I started to research it. And like most people, we go to YouTube. We start watching lots of YouTube videos. And I remember discovering a lady called Renee, or Gothamista, in the States, in New York. I don't know whether you've come across her.
No.
Well, you have to look her up.
I will.
Anyway, she was talking about various skincare ingredients, and she picked up a product and said, this product has a Rooibos in, which is one of my favorite ingredients in skincare. And I went, ooh, Rooibos? I drink Rooibos tea because I drink it to help manage my rosacea because it's anti-inflammatory. And I thought, I haven't seen Rooibos in skincare. So I started to look for it, and it does exist, but you don't find it very often. And when you do find it, it tends to be the red Rooibos rather than the green Rooibos. And I think most people would be aware that the green Rooibos is higher in terms of its antioxidant potential. And I thought, why is nobody using green Rooibos in skincare? Wouldn't that make an interesting skincare line? So that was kind of my little light bulb moment. But then I thought, you know, with my science background, if I'm going to do anything, then I want to do it well. You know, it needs to be science backed. So my first port of call was ringing the Rooibos Council in South Africa, SARC, so the South African Rooibos Council. And I said to them, look, I'm really interested in talking to some researchers about Rooibos, whether it would be a good cosmetic ingredient. And they put me in touch with the Nelson Mandela Institute in South Africa, who have done all the studies on Rooibos tea, well, many studies on Rooibos tea as a beverage, not as a cosmetic ingredient. And we agreed to set up a research collaboration that looked at green Rooibos with other antioxidants and just compared it and said, is this a true bioactive ingredient that is worthy of cosmetic application? So
Wow.
that was my first point of call.
Okay, I didn't realize that's how the whole thing came together. That's so fascinating. So there was a whole bunch of research being done anyway. So you were really one of the first to help with them look at how this is going to work with skincare. So that's
Exactly.
really interesting. And you're talking about the bioavailable. Is that what you said? To make sure that it was
Yeah, well, there's two
available.
things. There's bioavailability and is something bioactive. So we should probably explain the difference between those. So I think many ingredients are labeled as antioxidants. And by that, all that means is that it's probably put in a petri dish. Does it scavenge free radicals? Yes or no? And that's a basic assay, a straightforward test. But it doesn't tell you whether that antioxidant can get into the cell. Can it permeate a cell membrane, a lipid membrane? Can it accumulate within the cell? Because once it gets into the cell, what we don't always think about is that it's trying to, well, the cell is then looking at it as a foreign body and trying to get rid of it. So you've got efflux proteins and lots of things that are just trying to get rid of this antioxidant. Will they accept it? So that's what we mean by bioavailable. Can it get into the cell? Can it accumulate within the cell? And then bioactive means that can it then do its job inside the cell? So it's those two things that we wanted to prove and compare it to other antioxidants. So we had green tea in the study. We had cinnamorin, which is well known as an antioxidant. We used fermented rooibos, so standard rooibos as we know it, and resveratrol. So, a variety of antioxidants to see how it compared and how it behaved inside the cell. And the results were fascinating. So what we saw was that it is comparable to high-grade green tea in terms of its antioxidant capacity, and it behaves in the same way as green tea inside the cell. And this to me was a really, really interesting part, because what we know about green tea is firstly that it works as an antioxidant, so it scavenges free radicals, but we also know that the cell has its own antioxidant defense mechanisms. So it has its own antioxidant enzymes and small molecular weight antioxidants like glutathione. And when you introduce something to the cell, it can either work with it in harmony or it can work against it. And green tea is known to work with the cell and support the cell's own antioxidant defense mechanisms. And some of the antioxidants, which we won't mention in the study, didn't work very well with the cell, but the green rooibos and the green tea both supported the cell's natural antioxidant defense mechanisms, as well as working as powerful antioxidants in their own right. And that's what I found so fascinating. And that spurred me on to say,
it's like supercharging it all then, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a double whammy. It's a double whammy. Yeah. And that spurred me on to create my brand.
Can I ask you where the name came from? By the way, that's been the back of my head for ages.
Okay.
I would like to know before we get back on the antioxidant train.
Well, this was where my marketing background came in. If I'm really honest, we actually had a number of names that we had in a hat, and we thought, let's just put it out on a survey on Facebook and see what comes back. And Maysama came back as a resounding favorite. And I sat there and thought, do you know what? That's really strange. That wasn't one that was kind of my favorite at the time. But I put it together because my name was Bev May, so May comes from that. May is also my grandmother's name. And Maisama is an Indian goddess, so it's really a derivative of that. Maisama, Sama means balance as well. So it's just a derivative of Maisama, and Maysama comes from that.
Okay, that's gorgeous.
In hindsight, I was like, oh, it's the perfect name. Why did I not really think of that one, as first all along? But really, it was the community that chose it.
That's actually lovely. And I asked that because my day job, I work for a branding agency, and a big chunk of what we do is naming new companies and new products.
Wow.
And I do know how hard the naming process is, and it's very subjective and it's really tricky. So I like to hear that it sort of organically evolved, and it's taking some of those key elements of your name, your grandmother's name, and sort of the powerful goddess. That's all beautiful stuff. I love it. Fantastic. Okay, so
I think my grandmother chose it, really. See, I'm convinced my grandmother chose it. She said, you will use my name, and Sam is my first grandson. So there we go. We're having it.
It all came together.
She's no longer with us, but I feel that she made that decision.
That makes it even better.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go back to the antioxidant thing because, you know, I think the point, like I love the products, by the way, and there's only one in the range I haven't tried yet, but all of the ones that I have so far I love. But there's one that really tipped the scales for me, and it changed everything because I've talked on my channel a lot about LED light therapy. And I think for probably the last 18 months, I've been using it very regularly. I find it delivers great results. I know there's lots of research backing it up. But it was really when I started to understand the impact that green rooibos had on a couple of components when it came to the LED light therapy. The first of all was the shocker that they don't tell you what those subtle downsides of light therapy. There are lots of positive, but they didn't tell us the main negative that it sent me into a little bit of a panic when I heard.
Sure.
Was that all of the energy that's being created in order to activate the cells and all the good stuff that's happening is creating a small byproduct of free radicals. It's creating free radicals that are on your skin. And once I heard that, you're kind of going, what? And like, obviously it's not massive, but it's enough, I'm assuming, and you're going to tell me a little bit more about the science behind that, that to combat that would negate it. So if you're not doing it, and I was using it 7 days a week, 6 days a week at least, I try to use it every day. There's always a day here or there, it doesn't happen. But when you're using it every day, you think I'm doing nothing but good. But then it turns out there could be some negative outputs too. So this is what was the big eye opener for me, as I know some research has been done recently. And it was even before that was done that I started to use the product, that the green rooibos pressed serum can protect you from that. So you're not exposing yourself to those potential downsides. And the other flip side is you're actually making everything work better.
Exactly. You're having your cake and eating it with red light therapy effectively.
Let's talk a little bit. Tell me a little bit about that and about,
sure,
you know, how that works.
Absolutely. Well, the most important thing to know is that free radicals are not all bad. I mean, they are an intrinsic part of red light therapy.
Yeah.
So when red light is shined onto the cells, it activates mitochondria and it then helps to produce ATP. And that mitochondrial respiration will generate some free radicals. Now, those are important because they act as signaling molecules. Yeah. So that's what I mean about it being an integral part. It's those free radicals then that just kick off a whole cascade of really, you know, beneficial reactions that are you know, good for skin health. So it's when the red light continues, so you have this prolonged exposure to, let's say, you know, red light therapy, which is of a reasonable strength, then you will get an excess of free radicals building up. And as many of us will be aware, when we have excess free radicals, that can lead to a condition of oxidative stress. And oxidative stress can lead to damage to cellular components, so proteins, lipids, and DNA. And eventually, if that wasn't put into check, then the cell can destroy itself through a program of cell death called apoptosis. Now, that all sounds a little extreme. We're probably not going to get to that stage. But, you know, what we're talking about here is efficiencies. So there is a curve. You may have heard of hormesis, where you have a stimulus and a little bit of that stimulus elicits a biological response. More of that stimulus gives a higher response, but you reach a peak. And beyond that peak, then it starts to inhibit the response. And this is what happens with red light. You reach a peak every single time. And that's why the manufacturers are extremely responsible, because they give you a treatment time. Yeah. So if they give you a treatment time of 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it is right for that piece of equipment. And beyond that, what they're saying is that it's not going to operate efficiently beyond that. You're starting to then inhibit biological processes. So you can't really overdo your red light therapy. You know, we're talking about a single session. Don't go beyond what the manufacturer is recommending to you to do, but you can do it daily. It doesn't matter if you do your red light therapy daily. We're just looking to optimize protocols for you. So you've got red light that produces free radicals, and then the antioxidant comes in and it helps to mop up those free radicals. So it's a little bit like cleaning out the filter on your Dyson Hoover, effectively. That's the way I think of it.
Good analogy, actually. Yeah.
That's how it's, you know, it's a combination therapy. It's really combining two agents that have complementary action, one producing free radicals, one fighting free radicals. So you get a better balance that then allows you to have all the benefits of your red light and none of the we'll call it downsides, but it's not really, you know, it's
potential
downsides.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And I do have a question on that, because I noticed that the recommendation was to really give yourself 20 minutes between applying the serum and using the LED. And I have to say, it was a shift in my own schedule, because what I was doing prior to hearing about this is I would put on my LED before I even got out of bed. So I would just set my alarm for 10 minutes earlier.
Okay.
And then I'd get in the shower. And I have to admit, it was the easiest way to use it, because I'm not doing anything. I don't have to leave the time. But once I learned about this, I switched it to my nighttime routine, because I'd come home, have my dinner, wash my face, put on the serum, and then I wait 20 minutes. And then I use the LED light. Now that takes a bit more time, and it takes a bit more organization, you know. So is that necessary? Because I know some people are and some people aren't still using your product, but not giving it the 20 minutes. And I'm just curious as to, is it going to be 50% less effective, or, you know, do you have to leave it?
Well, I can't give you exact stats on that. It's just purely that the extended product test that we did, the protocol was to apply the serum 15 minutes before. We consulted with Professor Andre Sommer, because I know there was some debate, you know, do you put antioxidants on before or after the LED session? And he agreed with what we believed, which is to put them on before, because really you just want to give the antioxidants the opportunity to sink into your skin. Okay. And if you take serums in general, it's just a general understanding that a serum would be fully absorbed within about half an hour. So, you know, giving yourself sort of 15 to 20 minutes is really just giving you that advantage that the antioxidants have got into your skin.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not necessarily optimized. It might be that 30 minutes is better, you know, but.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to stick with that then. I'll stick with my 20 minutes, because that's what's being recommended. Okay.
Exactly. And those are the conditions under which we did the test and have got the amazing results. So.
And let's talk about those results, because they were shocking.
They were. In a good way. In a really good way. 100%. I mean, honestly. Yes. Yeah. So I was just so excited to get the results back from the lab. So these are what we call extended product trials. They're not clinical trials, but I wanted to put some evidence behind it. So the protocol followed was that of claims testing. So there were 16 women, and we tested over a period of 3 months. So it was a split face protocol, which basically means that serum was applied to half the face. And then, as we talked about, 15 minutes, wait 15 minutes, and then start the LED treatment session. So Mito Red Light kindly partners with us on these tests, and they provided the equipment, which was a red and near infrared panel. So the treatment time was 10 minutes, and then we measured the results for various skin parameters before and after 3 months, and the results were amazing.
Share with us what this study revealed.
Okay, so we looked at 4 different skin parameters. We looked at elasticity, wrinkle reduction, reduction to pigmentation, and reduction to erythema or redness to the skin. And first of all, I've got the results for using LED alone, and then applying the serum before LED, because don't forget we did split face. So let me read these out to you. So elasticity, LED alone shows an increase of 20. But when you put the serum on before, it's an increase of 55%.
Incredible. Incredible. Incredible.
Wrinkle reduction, LED alone, 10%. Maysama serum plus LED, 29%.
Yeah, unreal.
Pigmentation, so it's a reduction in pigmentation, LED alone, 9%. And with Maysama serum, 23%. I think this is a great one, because there was definitely questions about, can red and near infrared help with pigmentation? I think it's worth pointing out that the ladies in the study would not have included ladies of phototypes 4 to 6, so not darker skin tones. Okay, so maybe not 100% conclusive here, but definitely conclusive for ladies of fairer skins. Okay.
Yep.
And the last one is erythema, which was brilliant news for me, and explains why it's been helping so much with my rosacea. So LED alone, reduction erythema of 13%, but Maysama plus LED, a reduction of 30%.
It's incredible. It's just incredible. And it's funny because I was using LED on its own before using this product for well over a year, 14 months.
Yes,
I have to say, out of all the devices that I tinker with, the LED is the one thing that I probably love above all else. It's the one thing that I consistently used for the past year and a half because I feel it delivers results. So to find something that I already love,
exactly the same as me, Mary. Yeah.
it just boosts it. And to hear, and I did a video a couple of months ago featuring this product in conjunction with the LED light therapy and my sheer excitement about it. And to understand that not only is it helping with these sort of things, it's helping the efficacy of both. So to learn
Absolutely.
that this antioxidant is helping the LED work better, but the LED is also helping the antioxidant work better. And I thought that was fascinating.
That's right. Yes, and that's perhaps something that we haven't mentioned, that we also know that red light helps the uptake of your skincare. So it's great to combine the two.
It's actually a no-brainer. And that's sort of what I think once I've realized all of this, I have been, anybody who talks about LED, I'm like, yeah, but are you using the right serum? Are you using the serum you need to use to make this work? And that's why I wanted to have you on here. And it's something that I'm going to continue to talk about. And I kind of want to let the followers and the people watching this video know that I pay for this stuff. This has not been gifted to me. You haven't sent me one bottle. I continuously buy this and I will continue. And I will not be doing LED light therapy without this product ever again. And it's really funny. I feel like mentioning it. I know that with the studies coming out, you ran into a shortage problem. I mean, I'm sure it's a good problem to have when you're out of stock and you can't refill as quickly as the orders are coming in. I mean, that's a really good indicator for you in the business. But that means that people know it's working. And I had a little bit of a panic, I have to admit, because I'm using this every day. And I'm like, what if I run out? I'm going to have to stop.
You and me both, because I only had one bottle left on my own shelf. I was just shipping it out worldwide, just so no customers were disappointed and thinking I'm going to run out myself.
Yeah, and it became a panic. So I can say that you're fully restocked now, right? And it's available. So
yes, we're fully restocked worldwide.
just to let everyone know who's watching, I will put all the details, of course, of where you can buy these products down below, as well as a little discount code if you need a little encouragement, which I'd say at this stage you probably don't. The other thing that was big news for me in particular, you now have the facility in the EU to ship without having to incur any of those costs. Isn't that right?
I am so happy to say, yes, we now hold stock not only in the UK and New Jersey in the United States, we also hold stock in the Netherlands, which means that we can ship from the Netherlands to most EU countries. There are a few which they haven't set up yet, but I think it's, forever expanding. So if you're unsure, just check the Maysama website, and if we don't ship to you from the Netherlands, we will still ship to you from the UK anyway. So either way, we make it work. There's probably a couple of things that will come back. I know will come back as questions from your lovely subscribers, and maybe we should just cover those off. So the first thing that comes to mind, they often ask, can I use any antioxidant?
Yes.
And I think it's worth pointing out that the science suggests that any antioxidant will give you an advantage, but it also supports that green tea or green Rooibos tea will give you an advantage. And there's a reason for that, and it's to do with the target of the antioxidant. So if you take something like vitamin C, or L-ascorbic acid, which is the most popular form of vitamin C, then the target really is the core of the cell, not the lipid membrane. And what we're talking about here is the mitochondrial membrane. And for Rooibos and green tea, the target to fight free radicals is in the mitochondrial membrane. And when you think about what the red light does, it's activating the mitochondria. And what do? They produce free radicals in the mitochondrial membrane. And the first thing that happens is our body's defense mechanisms kick in, so that natural enzyme superoxide dismutase then starts to mop up the free radicals in the mitochondrial membrane, and it does a great job. But when it becomes overwhelmed, then green tea and green Rooibos tea, they act as superoxide dismutase mimetics. They basically copy what it does, and that's why they give you an advantage.
Wow. Okay. Didn't know that.
It was a little bonus point.
That's brilliant. Okay, because I did know, and I don't know if I'd read it or I'd heard it elsewhere, that this, antioxidants can play well together. But to see that they're actually have different functions and they're targeting different things, so together it's a better support system. So that's great. That's fantastic. I'm sure that would have come back to us. So thank you for answering that. Any other questions that are going to come up? Because I'd say you've done
yes.
Go on.
Another one that frequently comes up is, can I drink Rooibos tea and get the same effect?
Yes, I've had people wonder that too, actually.
Yes, yeah, I think there's a couple of points worth making there. There's probably lots of things that we can talk about, common questions. So, if we're talking about tea, then tea is really measured in terms of its flavor profile. They don't sell tea on the basis of its antioxidant potential. They just don't. This is the difference between a cosmetic ingredient and tea is a beverage.
Yeah.
Then we need to take it a step further up. So whilst we've been talking about green Rooibos extract, what I haven't mentioned to you is that our green Rooibos extract is no ordinary ingredient. It's actually a phytopharmaceutical. So it is what we call aspalathin enriched. Now, aspalathin is the main flavonoid or antioxidant in Rooibos that we recognize, and it's unique to Rooibos. It's a little bit like ECGC in green tea. I don't know whether you've heard of that. It's epigallocatechin gallate. Now I'm showing off. So it's kind of the equivalent of that.
Okay.
And with our green Rooibos extract, it goes through a painted extraction process. So it comes from sustainable farming, and then it goes through this painted extraction process that concentrates its antioxidant potential 70-fold. It's 70 times more potent than standard Rooibos. So, if you're going to use Rooibos for this purpose, you want the best.
This is the way to do it.
Yeah, we are the only brand that is using Rooibos as a phytopharmaceutical ingredient. You will find Rooibos in skincare, but you won't find aspalathin enriched green Rooibos extract in any other brand than Maysama.
Wow. Okay, question for you now. A lot of people have heard of green tea, and we probably not too many have heard of green Rooibos tea. What is the difference? Is there a difference? What is the difference?
Absolutely. I think that is a really, really good question to get some clarification on. So green tea, as we know it, comes from China and India. So the plant is known as Camellia sinensis, and it's native to India and China. Rooibos tea comes from South Africa. It comes from a different plant, which is called Aspalathus linearis. Okay. And there are quite a few differences between them. Firstly, green tea is tea as we know it. Rooibos tea is a tisane or a herbal tea. So it also has healing benefits. Okay. And I think it's really important to understand that there's a difference in the farming methods for India and China and also South Africa. So we have far less pollutants in the soil in South Africa. So what we tend to get is purer teas. Now, this was a really, really important point when we were talking with Professor Andre Sommer, who released that original paper about green tea and red light therapy, a duo, for skin rejuvenation. We spoke with him, and he was fascinated to know that we sourced the tea from South Africa because he had really struggled to find pure green tea. Even if he was using organic green tea, it was quite often contaminated with heavy metals from the soil.
So interesting. Yeah, you wouldn't have thought about it. Yep.
The beauty of our pharmaceutical ingredient is, it is pharmaceutical grade. So every single time we have to test for the quality of this ingredient, which includes testing for heavy metals, and they have to be really low to pass.
Okay.
So you are absolutely guaranteed the purity of this ingredient every time. So that's the first point. And then, of course, we've got the potency, and we spoke about it being aspalathin enriched and the painted extraction process. So that's hugely important. And then, of course, you've got stability, and that's really important as well. So, I've seen green tea serums out there, and sometimes they're not protected from light and air. Mary, you've seen the packaging for Maysama.
Right here?
You got it. Perfect.
I do.
Okay. So as you can see, the bottle is brown. It's brown for a reason. It's lacquered on the inside to protect the antioxidant from light degradation.
Yep.
Being a pharmaceutical ingredient, we want to get this to you in its very best condition. So inside that lacquered bottle is a pouch. So it's airless technology.
Yeah,
it's housed. Yeah, the pouch shrinks under vacuum as you use it, and then you can separate plastic and glass and use it for recycling. But most importantly, it's protected from light and air degradation, which keeps our phytopharmaceutical ingredients stable for you.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. We've seen the results. So
yes, yeah, by an average of 260%.
Yep. And that's, I mean, what more can you say, right? What more can you say? Oh, that's brilliant. Well, that, I think, answers all of my questions. Oh my gosh, Bev, I am so appreciative of you taking the time. I loved having you here. I'd love to have you back if maybe you would be up for that.
Absolutely. I love it. No, I'd love to work with you again.
And for those of you who haven't checked out the products, I strongly recommend you do. And you have all these other new things that have just come onto the website quite recently. You have a new toy that I've got my eye on. I saw that, the LED and the gua sha, and that's such an interesting thing. So lots of other things you're adding and you're growing, what's available on the website, which is quite exciting to see as a loyal customer. So thank you so much for your time here today. And maybe we'll have a follow-up session and we'll have you back on the channel.
I'd love to. Thank you so much for having me, Mary.
Great. Okay. We will see you soon. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I always learn so much from Bev and really appreciate having her here today. So if you have any questions or any comments, please put those down below, and I'm sure Bev would be happy to answer. So thank you again for joining today. And if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, I'll see you at the next video. Bye.
Should have got the honey.
I thought that was going to be wine there for a second. I thought now you're on to something.
Oh no, I'll get onto that next.
Yep.
I think I deserve one.